It didn't go unnoticed in round one as Kenya's board, that is Oluka Robert Mcligeyo, managed to get a very nice draw against Grandmaster Peng Li Min from Switzerland. And here is the game. We started with an e4 c5, and after knight f3 d6, d4, going for an open Sicilian but choosing the check over variation of the queen takes d4, knight f6, knight c3, after knight c6, we have a bishop pin broken by d7, and after the exchange of the knights for the bishop, we get to a typical position in the check over Sicilian where white can castle on either side. I mean, castling kingside is also a decent move. Chose bishop g5, and after e6, castles queenside. Yeah, so this is white trying to play for a small advantage. It's not really so great an advantage to say that black is losing or winning, but it's just enough to keep hanging on in the game. After bishop to e7 breaking the pin, rook from h to e1, we get castles kingside, and now it's a pawn race or more of a strategical game. e5 was played immediately, which kind of liquidates the center and puts the brakes on the position. So after d takes e5, knight takes e5, we get to see queen to c8, avoiding the exchange of the queens. Well, Grandmaster Peng, who is about 450 elos ahead of above his opponent, would want to keep the pieces on the board to keep some kind of edge or to play for something better. So we get to see h4, and after rook to d8, queen to f4, still hanging around the king. Well, we get to see that these pieces are quite dangerous around the king, which is seemingly naked, not so much, but well, there's something to get afraid of. So queen to c7 was played. Well, bishop, in case of bishop takes g2, this would be a very, very bad strategy. After bishop to h6, we get here the king is getting stripped naked, and that wouldn't be a very nice choice from the black side. Yeah, so you would not want to open the g file, and all the pieces that are around your king are the enemy pieces, which are quite aggressively placed with the rook coming to the open g file. So it would be a terrible strategy. So queen to c7 was played, pinning the queen, queen to c4, pinning the bishop, and now avoiding any bishop takes g2 shenanigans. So we get to see an exchange of the rooks, and obviously not to hang the knight. Knight takes d1 was played. It's obvious that rook takes d1 hangs the knight, so cannot be played. So knight takes d1, and after rook to c8, knight takes bishop, b takes c6. A critical position in the game, since you would not want to exchange the pieces, to have it as active as you can. Otherwise, we'd get into such a possible endgame, which is a knight for a bishop. Still drawish, but a lot of maneuvering would be needed. Simple enough is exchanging all the pieces, but then the wise choice by the grandmaster would be trying to outplay the opponent in a seemingly imbalanced position. It's equal material, but then the structure is different. So knight c3 was played, and after queen to b7, knight comes to e4, trying to ask for an exchange. The exchange was denied on the terms of white, so black would like to offer the exchange on their terms. So after bishop takes e7, queen takes e7, g3, simply holding fort in the position. And after c5, knight c3, requesting for an exchange either way. And this is also possible since the queen is hanging, so the knight would be for free if at all it falls. So we get to see knight to b6 attacking the queen, queen to e4 centralizing, a very nice square for the queen, which keeps tabs on all sides of the board, c4, and after queen to e5, h6 was played, creating a luft for the king. Well, this is quite a necessary move in the position, as you get to see that there are some back ranks which are possible in case black steps on a slippery slope. So rook to d1 was played, a principled move, controlling the open file. Queen to b7, trying to infiltrate through the light squares. And g4. G4 is a very interesting move in the position. I could say that there is not much that is happening. Queen to e4 is also possible, asking for an exchange. Not necessary, but well, I guess g4 is trying to push for something. You'd want it to be equal, but equally active. So queen to f3 was played, attacking either pawns, that is on g4 and f2. g5 was played, which is already the move that you are trying to push for. So after pawn takes, queen takes, controlling the diagonal, with a pawn sacrifice on f2, allowing rook to g1 with counterplay. So this is when white sees the initiative. A pawn down, but well, an active position. We get to see g6, and after h5, rook to c5, attacking the queen, queen d8 check, king g7. Well, so for a pawn, we get to see that white is actually generally active, which is worth the pawn loss. And after the amazing move, which is h6, that can't be taken, king h7 was played. Well, obviously, king takes h6 lands into a quick checkmate after rook to h1, king g7, and queen h8 will be made. So clearly, Peng would not fall for that. Played king to h7, rook to d1 was played, and after queen to e3 check, king to b1, a move that is often a thematic move in castling queenside, knight to d5, and a very brilliant move, knight to e4. Well, obviously, rook to f5 is a possibility. I don't know why he wouldn't choose that. There are not really many threats that are happening in the position that even after queen to f8, probably this holds the game well enough. I don't know how white will continue, probably sourcing out counterplay in any other way, but not as how the game continued brilliantly. So knight to if after knight to d5, which is simply attacking the knight twice, trying to damage the structure and continuing the initiative on the king side. Knight to e4 was played. A very, very beautiful move, holding on to everything in the position. Well, queen takes e4 was played, and after queen to f8, we get to see that a checkmate threat is it's well there, and you have to stop it by allowing the queen to go back into the diagonal. So it was kind of a deflection, just timely enough for you to have the initiative. And that's after queen takes e4, queen f8, queen e5. We get to see the perpetual, which led to the amazing draw, a very nice fighting draw that would not be possible if Robert had played on a bit passively. It was really nice. We could say that it was commendable play from either side, since none of them gave up the initiative against the other. So well played by either side. Tough luck to Peng. A good run and a good start for Robert. We get to hope to see more of such games in the next round. Have a nice tournament.